Those are probably the most important things to have, whether you're a lightweight, heavyweight, or ultralight, or super ultralight, or zero, or whatever you want to call that. I'm just going to go naked. I'm just going to go naked. Next hiking trip, I'm just going naked. Zero base weight. Zero base weight. What's that going to be?
And what do we got on this thing? A Cuisinart? No, sir.
What do we call that?
We're gonna have to go right to...
Ludicrous light. Well, that's not good. Came down early. Thought this would be all opened up so I could cross, but guess I timed that wrong.
Really?
Came down yesterday, I timed it wrong too. I came down super early, tried to catch a sunrise, and
Shit.
And it was even way worse than this, and I was way too cold to sit around and wait for it. Thought I'd nailed it today, but I guess not. So we're gonna have to wait this out. Beautiful views off the water of Shamcook. Coming down here over, looking over the bay a bit. Quite nice. Nice reflective things over Shamcook Mountain there. Yeah, it's a little hazy out, pretty bright, but should be all right. Looks like it's going to be a nice day today, I would say. Yep. It's going to warm up. Really nice. Be the warmest day of the spring, I think. Probably like +8 today, which is awesome. Oh yeah, that's a nice view there, isn't it? So we're out for a day hike today, carrying about 17, 18 pounds. Gonna get in 12 kilometers minimum, probably closer to 14 by the time you add in all the filming. Gonna take us a little bit to get over to the island now that the water is receding, and it doesn't take too long, but I definitely arrived way too early. And yeah, so we're gonna meander around the exterior of the island. You get to see all the wonderful little spots. And I thought, you know what, as we go along, maybe I'll talk to you a little bit about a story of one of my early backpacking trips with a friend of mine, Paul. Basically, the man that got me into the idea of what ultralight should be. This was many years ago, so it really led me into lightweight backpacking and the benefits of it. And now in the last couple of years, it's like, oh, I want to go ultralight, which kind of makes more sense for somebody like me. Okay, I think we have a pass through. A car just drove by and drove right through the water. I'm like, damn you. I wish I had 4 wheels and traction and waterproofness. Yep, we are in business. On to section 2. I love this little tunnel. It's kind of cool. It's called Cedar Lane. Yeah, we're out of the harsh light. And yeah, great start to a walk. So yeah, my first real trip with somebody else was a gentleman named Paul Elson. He was a friend of my dad's, and that's how I was introduced. He was an outdoorsman of canoeing, fishing, hiking, backpacking. I reached out to him and we planned a trip up at the Dobson Trail. So yeah, we got it all together. We showed up at the trailhead. He was all set to go. I still had my heavy pack, maybe a bit lighter this time, but not a lot. And off we went. So when you start the Dobson, there's this nice, easy trail. It's not a hard trail per se. You follow a river quite a long ways at the beginning. It's quite nice. We were chatting along, having a great time, and I noticed he had some what seemed to be pretty tricked out gear for a 74-year-old. So yeah, we had a wonderful walk that day. We went about, I don't know, we walked about 12 kilometers to our first campsite, a nice little area just off a swamp, so it was a bit buggy, but still not too bad. And there we are at the campsite, all tents all set up, getting some supper ready. And I noticed that he had I think it was a Vargo alcohol stove. And yeah, he was really struggling with it. Anyways, he's fiddling with that for quite a bit, wasting a lot of fuel, which is generally not good if you're planning a specific amount of fuel for your trip. Anyways, he finally gets it going, gets some water boiled, and he pulls out mashed potatoes and gravy instant. Yeah, he didn't like that at all. Just kind of threw it in at the last second, I guess. But which goes back to one of the things I talked about in the previous video, which is food is kind of like the thing you want to know you want to eat at the end of the day. Anyways, we wrapped up the night and went to bed, and he had a tarp system, which I thought was amazing because I was like, I would have never thought to take a tarp and sleep out like that. And I had this big honking 4-pound tent. I think it was red, if I remember, bright red. Yeah, it was an interesting evening and didn't sleep very well, but at the end of the day, you know, you're out in the woods, so you got to get used to noises and things like that. So yeah, after supper, we sat around the campfire and chatted a little bit, had a really good night's sleep, packed up, and we were on our way. The birds are out this morning. It's great. You know, spring's around when the birds are chirping away first thing in the morning. It is warming up quite a bit, which is great. I think we're going to get into camping here very shortly. Now that the temperatures are pretty close to above zero overnight, so this puffy jacket's starting to get a little too warm. I'm actually really surprised with this Enlightened Equipment jacket. It feels different than my normal down, which is basically, I feel like the down regulates my temperature better, whereas this is synthetic and it seems to just heat up, particularly in the sun. As soon as you get into the sun, this jacket gets super warm, super quick. So I think there might be seasonal uses for this type of jacket. It's definitely a 3-season jacket, but maybe not so much in the summer, only maybe to warm up after the sun goes down, but who knows? Guess we're gonna find out this summer. All right, it's been a great walk so far. I think it's gonna be time for a break. Not taking my own advice again. I'm not really drinking any water and not really eating any food. Problem is I'm filming, I get kind of wrapped up in that. We'll keep meandering on here. There's a picnic table, I think, up ahead. Nice little spot. We'll sit out, get a snack, have some water, and yeah, go from there. So we got up the next morning. We packed up our gear. Paul had a tarp. Still impressed by the fact that he had a tarp and slept out. It just boggled my mind. Anyways, we packed up and he took off. I still had the kitchen sink with me, so I had to pack up and chase after him. I was a very nervous hiker back then. I still can be at times, but I wanted to catch up to him, so I basically ran 1.5 kilometers to catch up to him. Anyways, we're hiking along, going through the marsh, and it was quite damp in the woods. It wasn't really the dry time. I think it might have been spring. Anyways, there was this wet root, and Paul's foot caught it, and he went up over and landed square on his shoulder with quite the thump. Yeah, he wasn't in good shape immediately. We knew something was wrong. We had at least another kilometer or so, I think, before there was an access point. So we started walking, kind of hoping it would get better. But I think at the end of the day, I think if I remember correctly, he tore his shoulder, but we didn't know that at the time. So as the pain increased, he whipped out the old spirits and had a few drinks along the way, try to ease the pain. We made our way out to the road, and yeah, we hid under his tarp while it rained. So his buddy came and picked us up, and yeah, that was the end of that trip. We got dropped off in our vehicles. We spent the afternoon together, and that was it. I will say the one thing I took away the night before when we were around the fire, he said, Patrick, if you can get your pack weight down to 20 pounds total for any given trip or around there, you're going to enjoy your hiking a lot more. Here I am sitting at least 30, 35 still. I've only cut maybe 5, 10 pounds off my pack weight. And yeah, that was what I took away from that. And obviously how easy it is to make a mistake when you're out in the woods. And those small mistakes can pay very high consequences. Fortunately, in this situation, we weren't in a place where we couldn't get access to civilization or get help if needed. It was starting to get remote, but not that remote. So yeah, that trip with Paul got me thinking about how to reduce my pack weight. From then, I would call that an obsession more than anything. I always feared the idea of taking too much anyways, but I was often subjected to doing so because I didn't have the money to afford high-end gear, at least at the time. But I'll say this too, ultralight gear doesn't mean it's gonna make you more comfortable. It doesn't mean you're gonna have the functionality that you think you're gonna have, because you can buy high-end gear and it not do the things you want it to do if you're not careful. You can buy cheap gear and it can do everything you want it to do, except it might not be small enough, right? So you have to think about trade-offs and what that means to you. Do you want to put some more money into something that might be very close but packs down really light? Or do you want something cheap but is less versatile and then is quite huge in your pack, and then you got to get a bigger pack? So there's consequences to all your choices. But at the end of the day, if you're having fun while you're hiking, you're comfortable when you're out camping and hiking, and you're present in the moment, those are probably the most important things to have, whether you're a lightweight, heavyweight, or ultralight, or super ultralight, or zero, or whatever you want to call that. I'm just going to go naked. I'm just going to go naked. That hike trip, I'm just going naked. Zero base weight. Zero base weight. What's that going to be? What do we call that? Ludicrous light. Ludicrous light. Yeah, that's what we're going to call that. Ludicrous light. Something for Spaceballs. If you remember Spaceballs. Ludicrous speed? Yeah. Bare bones, caveman style, right? Totally. That encounter with Paul kind of changed how I thought about backpacking, kind of changed how I thought about gear, and it did kind of lead to a bit of an obsession, which it is a good thing and a bad thing, because I can obsess over the smallest of things sometimes, not because it isn't valid, it's because I'm trying to always optimize, and that's just my personality. That's who I am, and it's just the nature of the beast. I think that's enough yakking for one moment, don't you think? Yeah. I think we'll eat this bar on the go and get the heck out of here. So this is an old cottage from years ago. So this estate was owned by Van Horn, and I believe this cottage was his son Benny's cottage. There's stories of him spending much of his time out here over the years. And then you got this amazing sandstone chimney that's still standing. You can see cracks. You can see that it's giving way too. Right there, starting to bow. The mortar and plaster's probably being weathered so much now that it's gonna collapse someday. But this building's probably well over 100 years old, and it's just lost to time now. Yeah, this is what it's all about. Like, this stuff is cool. Like, if you can see the rock formations and the way it gets cut in from the years and years of water eroding away the rock, cool. Quite a nice view. Lots of these little coves and inlets around the island. It's quite nice. You're kind of walking in the woods and meandering along, and then you pop out and get some nice views. There's lots of things to explore around this island. A lot of stuff in the interior. What we're going to do is we're just going to walk around the perimeter more, and then we'll pop out at the end of the trail. Maybe we'll walk up around the barn, take a peek, and that'll be pretty much it for the day. So thanks for watching, appreciate it. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up and give me a sub down below. You be well.